Welcome to Design Thinking Games, a gaming and user experience podcast. Card-carrying UXers Tim Broadwater and Michael Schofield examine the player experience of board games, pen and paper role-playing games, live-action games, and video games. Play through the backlog on your podcatcher of choice and on the web at designthinkinggames.com.
Yeah, so as you know, Design Thinking Games went to PAX, PAX East specifically, which was in Boston. It was kind of the April 21st to the 24th. It was a lot of fun, super fun time. And I know that probably some of our listeners have never been to like a Gen Con or an Origins or a PAX. So just what I wanted to say is that, you know, if you don't know what PAX is, it's the Penny Arcade Expo, and it's a con or a convention for gaming and all types of gaming. It's tabletop, arcade, video gaming, everything, right? It started like in 2004, and then I think it only was, you know, kind of in Seattle, or it had limited locations. But then due to the popularity, like I think in 2010, 12 years ago, they actually got PAX East, which is in Boston, which is the second closest one to me.
Yeah.
The most closest one to me is PAX Unplugged, which just started last year during COVID, and it is only tabletop board games, no video games.
That one's exciting.
Yes, and I think we've talked about possibly going to that this year. But anyways, I digress. It's like 67 or 70,000 people like who go. It is huge, right? And it has all these cool things. Like it has tournaments, it has LAN parties, there's panels and that you can talk to with game developers and cosplayers and famous like streamers on Twitch. There's music concerts. When I went before, I got to see the double clicks and and the mini bosses, which was awesome. And then they have the Omegathon, which is probably what they're most known for, which is like the con-long competition that they do.
Yeah.
And so the Omegathon is like a festival-long competition that I think traditionally, like they had like one person is randomly selected, but I think you can do teams now. And so they don't tell you the games. It's like you sign up with 3 teammates and they could have you playing Tetris, and then you're playing Street Fighter, and then you're playing Halo, and then you're playing like Monopoly or like whatever. I mean, they will throw any type of game at you, and the people who do the best win the Omegathon, and they get to choose like whatever PAX they want to go to next year. They get free tickets. PAX is also one of these kind of like Gen Con or Origins that it sells out like right within like 15 minutes. Like all the tickets are gone, you know, so it's kind of in demand. And then one of the other things that's unique to PAX is also the enforcers. It's the volunteers who work for it. They get like free admission to go, but they volunteer to work, and they're like super helpful. They guide you to where you need to go. You know, they help like corral people in waiting lines for panels and stuff. So, so it's a whole thing. When Design Thinking Games was there, you know, we kind of spent time talking to indie tabletop games and indie video games. So people who were there specifically to make a booth they could be doing alpha or beta testing for their board game or video game, or they are plugging something that is just about to go into Kickstarter, or it's currently in Kickstarter, or, you know, they're giving like a preview of a game that will be out soon. And that's the stuff I'm interested in. I mean, there are like the big booths there. They have like, you know, Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft and Discord and Twitch. I mean, like there's big booths, but I love going after and seeing like the indie stuff. And so that's what I wanted to kind of bring back and share with our listeners and you. Sound good? Are you game?
I'm game. This is super exciting.
Yeah, so we can start with indie video games. One of the ones that one of the ones that I got to speak to and see was Aron's Gift. It is a game that is by Inktail Studios, and it is a beautifully hand-painted game that I think just two people have created, and they had a booth there.
So this is Inktail Studios. This is our first game, Aron's Gift, that we're showing. And we put together about a 15 to 30 minute demo where you can kind of get a feel for the atmosphere and the style that we're going for. It's an original hand-painted, hand-placed 2D action adventure game. And it's made by me and Kristen. Kristen does all of the art and the music, and I do the programming and animation. This is our first time at PAX East ever. We've done PAX West, which was formerly PAX Prime. Still in pre-alpha, I would say. A lot more developing months in the future. And we're shooting for maybe 10 to 12 months down the road for a release on PlayStation, Steam, and Switch. It's a very story-driven game, so you got to get to know the environment, the characters, and sort of the ambiance from exploring the world. And there are plenty of RPG elements, but that's not the core of the game. You're not going to upgrade through a bunch of skill trees. You're going to upgrade about 3 major items and collect 3 major spirit stones, which give you most of your abilities throughout the game. The Steam wishlist really means a lot. It kind of gives us a metric about when we can release safely without totally blowing it. Or Discord is a great place to follow our development process, and our website, inktailstudios.com, is great. You can contact us there anytime, join the email list.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can see, that it is truly everything is hand painted. Everything is animated.
Gorgeous, man. Yeah, it's so pretty. Also, super interesting. One of the things I don't know that is where we've seen at least a lot at the the AA or AAA space is that these kind of smaller creators kind of experiment with the notion of the game or the mechanics of the game, where what he was saying about how this isn't, there are RPG elements, but it's not the point, right? The point of this is to tell a good story, to to role play. That's super interesting.
Yeah, and there is they had a tutorial set up for you to kind of play kind of 15 minutes just to kind of check it out. But I would say this is something for we've talked about narrative in the past on the podcast. This is something that if you are looking for a story driven game, get your eyes on Aron's Gift. And I think one of the things I didn't realize until I started interacting with going to game cons and the gaming community and the game culture and kind of all of this is that not only are you trying to build your following and getting your backers, by going to cons and demoing your games, but you can also, a lot of people, for video games, use the Discord space to connect players to developers. And so you can actually kind of communicate, release, answer questions, have that interaction there, which I wasn't even aware of, maybe because I'm more aligned to tabletop games, how those are, backed at cons, but not so much video games. Design Thinking Games is a proud affiliate of Hunt a Killer. Enter the world of Hunt a Killer in their newest murder mystery season, Mallory Rock. This realistic murder mystery game delivers high-quality, handcrafted evidence that brings a fictional case to life. Can you solve a mystery with Hunt a Killer? Go to designthinkinggames.com/huntakiller or click on the banner at the bottom of our website. Yeah, so very cool. Another one that I saw there was interesting. It's called Dead Cells. And Dead Cells is interesting because it was made years ago by the game studio Motion Twin, and it was successful. But Motion Twin kind of wanted to move on, but they partnered with another gaming studio called Evil Empire Studios. And so Evil Empire Studios is like, no, this game kicks ass. We're going to keep releasing content and making DLC and adding to the game. And so the original people, some of them are involved, but then some of them wanted to continue working on other games. And so, yeah, so this is what the person I talked to from Evil Empire Studios said about Dead Cells.
So me personally, I'm Matt. I'm the marketing manager for Dead Cells. So we're actually Evil Empire, who took over Dead Cells from Motion Twin 3 years ago. Motion Twin is the guys who made Dead Cells originally, and they wanted to move on to a new project. So we're taking care of it. They retain creative control, and we kind of work symbiotically, I guess. I joined the company just before COVID hit, so I never got the chance. So this is like quite important PAX for me. I'm loving it so far as well. It's great. And so the game is Dead Cells. It's they call it a Roguevania, which means it's a roguelike with elements of Metroidvania, exploration, gatekeeping. So it's basically elevator pitch is buttery smooth combat, super fast pace, 150 weapons. You're going to die a lot, but you'll improve and grow your skills. Yeah, so this, what we're showcasing now is the Queen in the Sea DLC, which came out a few months ago. We've also got our latest update, which introduces a new level called the Bank, which appears randomly in your run. And we've also got some preview of our next update, which is all about accessibility. So there's options to outline the player, outline the enemies, reduce particle effects, change the colors. We also have an assist mode, which lets you adjust enemy health, damage, trap speed. You can even add a continue. So we're basically trying to allow everyone to tailor the game to suit them, basically, so they can enjoy it for themselves. The places we most regularly post is on Steam, but if they don't have Steam, we're always posting on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the usual. We've got a Discord. If people are curious about the game, they can follow that. We always do announcements whenever we've got an update coming out or an alpha test, beta test people can take part in. So those are usually good ways.
How cool that they are leaning hard on the accessibility aspect as a product seller or a differentiator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for me, you are kind of right, because I love Metroidvania style games, as you know.
I look at this, it looks like it has like Tim like all over it.
But what you don't get with Metroidvania style games, which I love, like the side scrolling, going back and like figuring out and like, oh, I just got this item, now I can go back to before and now I can do this thing, is the roguelike element. You always know, like with Metroidvania style games, like, oh, when I go back to the fountain, there's always going to be this monster here. But no, like with the roguelike game, like it's different. It's randomly generated, which is very cool.
I think that's really cool. And of course, as an engineer, I'm sort of thinking about how impressive that code base must be, right? Because it's one thing to have a roguelike that is randomly generated with the intention or the assumption that the player is always moving forward. Mm-hmm. But with Castlevanias, or I guess Metroidvanias, you're right. Like the whole idea is that there are things to unlock back where you came from. There are things you can't even access until you get a certain item or level up to a certain point. And I'm super interested to see like how this is actually like designed in terms of that replayability with the knowing that it was totally procedurally generated. So how dope.
Yeah, and the original studio being involved and having creative control, but like allowing DLC to kind of come out
also
so
cool,
the game
right?
doesn't die. Like, yeah, and it was popular, man. Like there were people waiting in line to play, because if they played and did well, they would get a free copy of the game.
Oh, they gamified it? Nice.
Yeah, so very cool.
A well-designed war game is hard to make. But if you've listened to the show for any length of time, you know we stand Hell Let Loose, this realistic, immersive World War II shooter that not only requires that you play well, but that your squad plays well together. And well with other squads. There's no HUD, there are no scopes, one shot and you're down. If you can't fortify, flank, and suppress as a team, you lose. And because of that, in my opinion, Hell Let Loose deserves many game awards. If that rings true and you want to help the show, consider downloading it through Gamersgate. No, not that Gamersgate. The Gamersgate that came before the controversy that hijacked the name. Gamersgate is the world's largest online store for PC and Mac games, more than 4,500 of them. And if you download Hell Let Loose or another game through designthinkinggames.com/Gamersgate, it'll help us keep the lights on. I'll see you on the beach.
And then one of the last, I think I talked to a bunch of people there, and it's just like there's so much, right? But one of the last ones that I wanted to bring up is rescue pets. And I think I talked to you a little bit about this before, but essentially it is mobile games for Android and iOS. But the proceeds from the games go to actually help dog shelters in the real world.
Well, my name's Dan Scalise from Scalise Co., and we make games that donate to animal shelters. Yeah, I've been to PAX before. This is my fourth one, actually. Yeah, so our first game's Rescue Pets, and, I used to work at Amazon as a software developer, and I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. And so I said, mobile games make so much money. What if we could use that money to give back to the greater good? So I made Rescue Pets. You get this corgi, you adopt him, you grow a home for him and grow an animal shelter with him. And you get cute costumes and stuff like that. And money you spend in the game or any ads you watch go towards helping different animal shelters. Yeah, so 20% of everything we make, our revenue, from ads and app purchases or our merch, like the corgi butt pins we have, they go to Doggone Seattle. And we rotate different shelters every now and then, but Doggone Seattle we've donated over $6,000 to. So we just released Rock Miner, and it's a brand new game where it's 3D, you're a corgi, you get on a truck, and you just start crushing rocks and find animals trapped in the mines, and you save them. And now you can start playing as them too. Well, you can find us on social media at Rescue Pets Game, on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And then scalisco.com is our website. That's SCALISCO.com. Yeah.
Were there a lot of games out there that you saw that were where like the mission was a big selling point, like Rescue Pets, and as a way to donate and help actual animal shelters, Dead Cells with like the accessibility on front end? Was this like did you notice this like I don't know, was this noticeable at all at this PAX East or?
Well, I think it's noticeable with indie games, right?
Sure.
So if you're not a big studio, I mean, you're kind of in it for whatever reason you're in it, And so some are people who want to make a game that they love,
wow,
to play, where some are like, no, let's take proceeds to help a, kind of a cause. Or some are just like, I love we have great art that we want to weave into a game, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think it's kind of all over the place. And that's kind of what I love about the indie games. And then if you have not, if you do not know this game, and our listeners, definitely go check it out, because I don't know if you saw the corgi butt pins.
I love it.
Or the pillows.
That's what my I just took a screenshot of it as I was scrolling through the website. I love
and
it.
it's like any part of their proceeds, like a percentage of their proceeds goes. So I mean, that's to help, kind of animal shelters. And the game itself is like an animal sim shelter. Like you rescue a pet and you make an animal shelter and you find homes for them. And so it's very cool. Like
I love it. Yeah, I haven't loved a game by default, having not even played it in a minute. So, man, they definitely target you straight in the heart. This is a good one.
Yeah, so very cool. And then while I was there, like one part of the Boston Convention Center is divided into two sections, right? So one whole section is literally what they call the vendor mart, and that's like the video game side that is only open for a certain time of day, and then it closes down. But until midnight is the tabletop space, because people are playing tabletop games all the way till the witching hour. So on the other side, I got to talk to a couple different game developers and studios, and one of the coolest ones I got to talk to was this game called Aegis, and I've never heard of it before, and it's on its second release, or season 2, and I didn't even catch it the first time around, but it is literally like multiplayer Voltron.
Oh yeah, so my name is Breeze Grayus. I'm the head of Zephyr Workshop, based out of Seattle/Boston. And we make Aegis combining robots. Aegis is a 20-minute tactics game. You have a team of 5 robots. Your opponent has a team of 5 robots. You fight. It goes 2 to 6 players. There's 5 different kinds of robot: assault, evasive, guard, intel, support, spells, Aegis. These types of robots are color-coded, and you can put robots of different colors together, including all 5 of the robots on your team to make Voltron. So it's all about team building and things. There's like 100 unique robots in the box, bunch of different game modes. 100 robots in the box, and with this new box that we're making for the sequel, there's 100 more robots. We Aegis launched in like 2018, 2019, and we sold through all of it, and now we're returning to Kickstarter to reprint that first box, and also we're doing a whole new second box called Aegis Second Ignition, or Aegis 2, or Aegis Season 2. We just call it all of those things. But yeah, it's a whole new box that's cross-compatible with the first one, and it has like all the content inside is new and streamlined and good. So your robots share energy points with each other, like your action points, and if you reduce your opponent to there's a point where once your opponent can't make enough energy, they'll lose, or if you blow up all your opponent's robots, they'll lose. And we've also introduced some new game modes in the new box, where instead of just doing a straight up death match, you just blow your robots infinitely respawn, but you're trying to like accrue points instead. So it becomes like more of a gamified game sort of thing. Check out Pocket Paragons. It's a 5-minute dueling game. We have a box. There's a standalone expansion box for that game with Aegis characters on it. That's the only thing I can sell you because their game's out of print. Look for the first Aegis game on eBay. Please back our Kickstarter. Then when it comes out, the sign-up page is up now, so just click the green button. Find it. Aegis 2. Probably go to zephyrworkshop.com, where there are lots of links to our Kickstarter page. You can search it up on Board Game Geek. You can find us on Twitter at Zephyr Workshop.
Damn, what a cool game! And also, I like how lackadaisical the guy was about the marketing. It's like, we're literally everywhere. Oh, did you see a picture of the inside of that box and how many pieces are in there? Oh my god!
The game was there. You could play the demo of the game at PAX, and then I can't believe it was out already. And it's like I'd never even heard of it, and now it's had cross compatibility. It's played with other, it's kind of been featured and plugged in other games, like he said. But then, like, you have 5 robots, and you can have many players, and you can control robots and build them together and fight, and you share an energy pool, and that energy pool lets you do special attacks and moves, and super cool. It
is super cool. Oh man, I don't know who didn't grow up on Voltron or like later like Power Rangers and all that.
Or Transformers. Yeah, even they had all the different types of bots that would build bigger bots.
Cool, dude.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Design Thinking Games is an affiliate of Space Engineers. Space Engineers is a sandbox game about engineering, construction, exploration, and survival in space and on planets. To find out more about Space Engineers or its new DLC, Warfare 2, go to designthinkinggames.com/Space Engineers, or just go to our website and click on the banner. Yeah, so one of the other games, this is not specifically a game, but a game studio that I thought was cool, like Lay Waste Games.
Oh, interesting.
I talked to one of the people. They have multiple games that are out there, but they actually had, whereas like, you know, with Aegis and Zephyr Workshop, they're like, oh, we had a game that already came out, and here's a Kickstarter that let's please back us now because the Kickstarter's active. This was a game studio that kind of took a hit, like not a hit, but was set back a little bit because of COVID. And so I actually got to talk to, one of the people from their booth.
So my name is Jake Given, one of the co-founders of Lay Waste Games. We're the creators of a few games, most notably probably is the Dragoon series of games where you play as dragons destroying and dominating humans. So the first Kickstarter we did for Dragoon would have been back in 2015. So I guess we're coming on 7 years that we've been a studio. So we're excited to be able to promote Life Siphon, which is our most recent game that is currently available. That launched and was available right before the pandemic hit. So we lost a lot of ability to show it off at conventions and promote it that way. So we're really excited about that. But we have a new game as well that we're starting to demo, show around before we do the full Kickstarter later this summer. This is our hometown. We started here in Boston. We love PAX East. It's our favorite convention to go to, so we're really excited to be back. So our website is laywastegames.com. You can also find us at Twitter at @laywastegames. And hit us up. We're always happy to talk to people.
Yo, their Dragoon pieces for their gold edition are amazing. I love them.
Yeah, the pieces for Life Siphon, I'm assuming it's wood. Like
it looks like wood, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful games. And then they had like a bunch of different ones out there. For a minute when I passed them, I was like, oh, this is just a store that's selling games. And it's like, no, Lay Waste Games is a studio, and these are our games. So it was kind of neat. And so, yeah, there are super cool artifacts for each one of their games. Then that's the thing that kind of stuck out to me the most. Between Dragoon and Life Siphon and Human Era, they're just very creatively crafted. They have these cool things that are on the table that you kind of want to interact with and click with and move around, and that's what is neat. So I would... it was interesting talking to them because, board games is something we don't typically think of, that's like, you have to be there in person to play. And as online gaming kind of like, I think went through the roof probably, and streaming went through the roof during COVID, it's like, well, what about the board game love? So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's interesting. It'd be fun to chat with them just kind of about that. It's how cool though. Their art style pervades each of their games.
Mm-hmm. And they're all stylistically different. Like how Human Era looks versus Dragoon versus Life Siphon. Very cool. And there's also like, I talked to tons of different people, and hopefully maybe we can have some on in the future or like feature them in the newsletter. But I think the last one that I was talking to was a guy who made a game called Reap. And then you have to know, I mean, you probably know of it, and everyone who's listening probably knows of Drinking Quest. It's probably one of the most popular games.
I'm Jason Anarchy, and my studio is Jason Anarchy Games. I've been making games for the past 10 years. My first game was Drinking Quest, the original drinking RPG in 2011. I just saved up $6,000 and I was working a fine job, but it was, I wasn't passionate about it. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna print a run of games and see what happens. And then I ran a Facebook ad, it took off pretty quickly, and I've been kind of running on that momentum ever since. And I quit that day job. I've been at every PAX East since, I think, 2013. It's consistently been my favorite con to do. There are a lot of good ones. PAX East is my favorite. It just checks off all the boxes. I can drive here from Toronto. It's a day road trip to get here, but I don't need to fly. It's laid out well. It's exciting for me. I like a lot of the things here, and it's run really well. I think the organizers do a great job. Yeah, 2 new games. Yeah, one of them is Reap, a game where everyone's a Grim Reaper, and they're trying to reap souls. But it's also really silly, and it's got really stylish artwork from Kelly Basto. They're all like ridiculous-looking watercolor Reapers, and they all have like a theme. Like there's Taco Reaper, and Contemplating Life Reaper, and Wi-Fi Reaper, things like that. But at its core, it's actually a really strategic game where you're moving these Reaper meeples around, and you're secretly bidding on Reap, Sweep, or Keep to try and get those souls. So yeah, that's coming out next month, and we've got an early copy here we're showing off. And then also, I mentioned Drinking Quest, the original drinking RPG earlier. That's been out of print for a little while, but my new game, Drinking Quest 6-Pack, puts the first 6 Drinking Quest games into one big box. Many of them are now out of print, and they will be available again. And it's big and beautiful and colorful and loaded with content. JasonAnarchyGames.com, links to all my stuff. If you want to check it out, I tweet a lot. I'm at Drinking Quest on Twitter, Jason Anarchy Games on Facebook. I'm just Jason Anarchy on Instagram. Twitter gets all my just throwaway comedy content. I'm always tweeting about how great my biceps are, different bicep oils that I use. Just, all my shower thoughts go there. But all my quality material, all my really good stuff goes into my games.
Bicep oils. Also, I wanted to pull out Reap Meeples. Talk about a guy who has just good idea after good idea after good idea.
This Jason Anarchy Games, if you're not familiar with it,
wow.
Oh my gosh, dude, Drinking Quest 6-Pack, heck, the game. Your friend is sad. Reap. Dude, there was one that people were playing there, which is Your Friend is Sad. And it's cards you play to cheer up your friends and stuff.
Oh my God.
So it's all over the place.
Yeah.
There's not you know what I mean? It's a bunch of Jason Anarchy Games has a myriad of different types of games there, which was very cool. And it was nice to talk to him. The guy's hilarious too. And he's very humble.
And to think that he just, saved up $6,000 and decided to blow it all away. This could have turned out really poorly.
Man. Drinking Quest sells itself, right?
So admirable. Well, that's what I was talking about. I mean, how much money, all these ideas are fascinating. Reap is 100% on brand for me. So I'm just in awe of this guy. I'm going to follow him on Twitter immediately.
Yeah, and I think because it was a little bit ago, you can get Reap now.
I think Reap is out.
Actually buy it.
Yeah.
So it's only been maybe less than a month or a little less than a month. But yeah, Reap is available. So you can definitely get it. And it definitely is cool. Very cool looking game. Very cool premise. Grim Reapers fighting against other Grim Reapers, for souls.
Man,
so
just kind of looking back through Dead Cells and even Rescue Pets, Aegis, and the Inktail, the Inktail game. Yeah, Aron's Gift. The art is frameable. This is so fascinating. How neat. I've never wanted to go to a convention so bad. And I come out of higher ed, right? So my biggest convention was the American Library Association. Man, this looks like so much fun. And it, I don't know, the folks, at least the level you're talking to, could be you or me or any, anyone who has a little bit of a dream and a risk tolerance.
Yeah, that's the humbling thing about it is you can, and this is what I like is when you go and you see here's Sony, here's Nintendo, they bought 6 slots of booths, and then you see the indie game section. It's we bought 1 table, that's all we can afford because we're just trying to get.
Oh my God.
our game out there, right? And I can't even imagine like what a table costs. And so anyways, when I see it, I mean, these are like real people who kickstarted, who are just play testing, and they are the nicest people.
It's inspiring.
The indie game people are they're the coolest people you want to talk to. They're down to earth. They'll tell you how they did it. If you got a game idea, they'll be like, yeah, share it with me. You know, like it's the gaming community is very supportive and very, very humble.
Yeah.
In my experience.
Well, awesome, man. What a journey.
That was the indie game kind of experience at PAX. If anyone kind of follows us on Twitter or TikTok, there was a lot of content that I think went out there about PAX, because I got to meet the Stream Queens, which is awesome. They're like a collective of trans and drag and drag queen kind of streamers on Twitch. They had a panel that was cool. I got to see a lot of really cool cosplay, and some of that's up on our social media. So, and then, our plan is, some people know from our social media that we backed GooseCon, which is a new con in Ohio, a gaming convention that actually now is happening. And so I think we'll maybe have some presence there. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but we've also talked about going to more conventions in the future, playing games and kind of doing some coverage, talking to indie game developers. And so maybe another PAX or Gen Con or Origins. I don't know. I would just say stay tuned.
What a journey, man. If you dug this episode, let us know. Give us a like, heart, or follow on your podcatchers of choice. Subscribe if you aren't to Design Thinking Games. We are on Twitter and TikTok and Twitch as Design Thinking Games. And if you heard potentially like a really excellent ad spot that Tim or I designed, you too could have one of these. We are fairly affordable, and I'm just excited to help people elevate their voices a little bit. So consider supporting us any way you can, or on patreon.com/designthinkinggames. See you guys on the flip side.
Thank you for listening to the Design Thinking Games podcast. You only have so much time, and it means a lot you shared it with us. To connect with your hosts, Michael or Tim, visit Design Thinking Games on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter. DMs are open. You can also check out designthinkinggames.com, where you can request topics, ask questions, or see what else is going on. Until next time, game on.